I want to share a story of learning how to come out of an extreme state of shutdown. So I was working yesterday with a client who often would have these waves of debilitating shutdown where she would be, almost completely immobilized. And she'd struggled with this for a long time and, had tried all kinds of things to get out of it. Different medications or techniques or exercises. And in our work together, though, because we'd been working together a little while, I think she noticed how in those attempts she had been really resisting the state of shutdown. And so just before our session, which was yesterday, she brought a little bit more curiosity to the state of shutdown. Was kind of like, okay, let's just see what's going on here. And as she was exploring it in her experience, which is a really, brave thing to do, when we're trying to fix these things, it's so understandable. It's totally innocent. It's really painful here. So we try to fix it. But if we bring curiosity, what she noticed is that there were actually these massive feelings underneath and behind it that she could sort of sense, sort of in the distance. And also a part of her that was going, these feelings are going to kill me. If they come up, they're going to kill me. They were that big. And so that was almost why the shutdown was there. She was started to realize was to protect from these feelings. So we started to explore it in the session. And, we're going along, seeing what's there. And she remarked at one point that she noticed this frustration trying to intervene, in her words, and was trying to was like, okay, well, I'll try and push that to the side and we'll explore the shutdown. But I invited her to be curious about that and actually allow the frustration, because that was the part of her that didn't want that shutdown to be there, was frustrated, annoyed, angry at the fact that it's there, that it's painful, she can't do anything. And in the allowing of that frustration, acknowledging it, letting it speak and be felt, it quickly shifted. And there was actually shame underneath. And that shame was saying, like, I shouldn't be feeling this. I shouldn't be feeling this way. It means that I'm doing something wrong, or that I should know the way out, or I've done all this work and I shouldn't be in this state still. And again, this is the deeper part that's actually pushing away that state of shutdown, and in so doing, reinforcing it, making it hold on even tighter. So we gave some space, again, bringing the curiosity and space to that sense of shame. And in the same way, quite quickly, surprisingly quickly, it kind of lifted. And the more felt sense of shutdown was allowed. And we kind of had more access to allow that state of shutdown. As we kept exploring, it was almost then going down to the next layer, and that actual sense of helplessness started to arise. It was, a felt sense of being a little girl, essentially, without going into details, being mistreated by her mother very badly, and that intense sense of helplessness that she had felt then started to come up. And, I supported her to be with that emotion, so that, because obviously to part of her it felt overwhelming. So there's ways that we were working together to help it be a little less overwhelming while still able to be with it and process it. And, there's tears coming. She's really embodying this state, this sense of helplessness from earlier on. And over time it starts to soften and spaciousness starts to come in. And by the end of the session, she said there was no sense of the shutdown that had been there previously. It had lifted. And this is a really beautiful example of sort of what's going on here, how our emotions and our nervous system works. Because, there were these original emotions from childhood, this sense of helplessness. And through our life, it started to, these emotions don't disappear. They start to grow. They start to try to come to the surface to be felt. But there's that part that goes unconsciously, like, this is going to kill me if I feel this. So shutdown comes in, migraines come in, which is something she also struggled with. And these physical, it feels safer to the body to completely immobilize you than it does to allow these feelings to come up. But then, of course, what makes it get stuck is that then we have reactions to this shutdown. It's obviously incredibly frustrating. And I've experienced similar states. It's you get so mad at not being able to do anything. And in this case, there was the shame as well of being in this state. And so you get these layers of shame and anger that just lock in that state of shutdown. And so what we did was to work through the layers. We start with the frustration, then it goes down to the shame. Then we've got space to feel the shutdown itself, and then it goes underneath that to the helplessness that's at the root. And when you actually learn to feel that, then the shutdown doesn't need to be there as intensely, and it can lift. And she said, we emailed, and the next day she felt much more energized. There was more space. And I doubt that's completely resolved for her. There are probably more layers to the helplessness, and there's probably more layers of the shutdown too. But it's a really beautiful example of how shutdown works, what it's protecting within us, and how to heal it. What's key here is noticing the resistance to the state of shutdown. This is often an overlooked key to what's going on. Often we're trying to investigate this, whatever malady is going on, because we're trying to get rid of it. And that's precisely what's keeping it in place. And it can feel like our frustration at the situation is like this side thing. It's like, okay, I've got the shutdown and the wounds over here, and then all my frustration and shame about it is this kind of side thing that I just want to get out of the way. But that's actually the doorway to being able to fully allow. If you can allow the resistance, you can then more fully allow that shutdown state or whatever it is that you're experiencing. And then in the allowing of that, it starts to reveal what's at the core. And you can check out my videos on resistance. I've got some good videos. There's like a half-hour one called How to Work with Resistance, I think, which goes into that. And I think that's about it. I just wanted to share that. And if you want to work with me exploring these emotions or wounds or helping support your own emotional growth, you can check out my links in the description below. And I'd love to hear from you. Comment if you've experienced something similar yourself or any questions, and I'll happily answer them. And I'll see you later. Bye.